Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today, have you ever tried to figure out what a muted color is?
Yes.
Like, what does that even mean? What is a muted? How do you get a muted color? Because that's what we're talking about today. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe. We had a really great Patreon question from Tamara.
It was so good. I mean, her point was so well taken that and I answered her on Patreon. But then I was thinking, everybody needs this information. So This is what Tamara said. She said, "What's up with people who say, I've seen some videos that say you can mute a color simply by adding white or black." And so naturally, being the color geek that I am, I went into way too much detail about it. Sorry, Tamara. But I thought maybe if we do this video on the same topic, we will answer that question once and for all. And everybody will learn how to mute a color. So to the point that you can add white to a primary color and mute it. That is not possible. When you add white to a color, a primary color, you create what's known as a tint. And it's basically a pastel. You create a lighter version of that color. And the thing about a tint, creating a tint, is that sometimes that tint can be just as intense or more so, more intense than the primary color, simply by adding white. So white won't mute a color. But as you can see here on this slide, white added to red will make a pink. Not a muted pink, just a pink.
Right.
What makes a muted pink? First, we're going to talk about black. Does adding black create a muted color? And the answer is no. It creates what's known as a shade. And a shade can be even deeper. Well, it's definitely deeper, but it can be richer than the original color that you started out with when you added the black. So that doesn't mute a color. So what creates this muted effect? True softening involves reducing a color's chroma or saturation rather than simply adding white or black. White makes a tint, black makes a shade. So this is all built on the Munsell color system, which kind of is the holy grail for color analysts and professionals who work in the field of color. And basically, to desaturate a color or lower its chroma, you need to add either gray or some aspect of its complement. So in a case like this, when you take red and you add gray, you get a muted reddish, brownish color. When you add burnt sienna, or maybe this would be a sienna, you get kind of a muted orange. So basically what you're doing in the case of the sienna, it's got this burnt sienna has a little more green in it. So what you've done is you've muted it and it's created a softer color. I think I've told you guys that I paint portraits, and I've done that for a long time. I'm not a professional portrait painter, but it's my hobby. If you add just a dab of your subject's hair color into every color in the whole portrait, you will create harmony in the whole portrait. And the portrait will look like it is of a piece, right? So I thought, well, what if you mute your colors, like if you're dealing with an autumn like Sarah, what if I muted this red and this yellow with her hair color, and what would we come up with? Would we come up with something that's in her palette? Now, since I'm not painting here for you, what I did was I took the hexadecimal codes for red and the hexadecimal code for this sienna color, and I put it into artificial intelligence, and I said, take this code, blend it with this code, and show me the result. The result you see here is kind of a soft orange, which is in her palette. We take this yellow, which is not in her palette. We add her hair color, the hexadecimal code for yellow, the hexadecimal code for this sienna, put it into AI. So what we have done by adding her hair color into these primary colors is found her palette colors, which I think is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's actually a really good tip if anybody wants to do some AI work.
Well, it is a good tip. So let's say that you're looking for something that might be in your palette.
Right.
You take the hexadecimal code for the color for the color that's not in your palette.
Right.
Like you want to find the red that's your perfect red. So the hexadecimal code for the red, the hexadecimal code for your hair. Add them together in AI, and suddenly you're going to have a color. It's going to tell you the hexadecimal code for a color that would be right for you.
So in case you're wondering what a hexadecimal code is, like we keep talking about, it's an alphanumerical code that has like 6 digits, and it kind of just elaborates on the color that you're using in digital design. Yeah, so it's like an exact color that you're referencing.
Each code represents a shade. And I think on a computer you can get millions of shades. Well, these codes represent the shade to the nth degree. Now, just to recap, what is a muted color? A muted color is a color that has been mixed with gray or some version of its complement to bring down its saturation or its chroma. That's it.
So I hope that answered any questions out there that you had about muted colors. I know there are a lot of soft people out there after doing our color analysis that need questions answered. And we are here to do that. I know that soft is not a very descriptive part of color analysis that's out there currently. So we are trying to do our best in making sure we get as much information to you now that we realize there are a whole lot of softs out there. Speaking of color analysis, if you want a color analysis with us, you can join us on Patreon where our open slots are available. If you sign up for the Hue Heroes, that's where we're currently listing open slots. You get a special website, you have a code to put in, and you can sign up through that way. We're going to be doing our color enthusiasts after that, and then our free members on Patreon, and then we'll get to our website signups.
I hope.
I know. I'm like,
I have to tell you, the response that we've been getting to people who are wanting to have their colors done has just blown us away.
Right.
And thank you. Thank you for trusting us, because it's just so gratifying, and to do the work, to put together one of our color portfolios where we don't put you in a season. That's not it. We go so deep. We look at the 12 palette system, we look at the 16 palette system, and then beyond that, we create a custom palette that's just for you, that you won't see anybody else have.
Now, we are also available on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then here on YouTube. If you could do us a favor, subscribing, liking, commenting, or sharing this video, all of that helps us here and helps us be able to keep creating content for you guys. So thank you again. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.